Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We passed 30,000 subscribers a week or two ago, and we're pushing to 31,000. So we'll have content from this live show up on the channel Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then I will do, if anything happens that is video worthy, I'll do some content from Southern California over the next week. And then we'll have Overreaction Tuesday after the game, maybe depending on cell signal. I might go live walking out of the Rose Bowl on Monday evening. 5 days till this game. If you watch this on Thursday, it's 4 days to the game, right? 4 days to the game. I think it's the biggest game in Michigan football history. Certainly more games have felt bigger at the time, 2006, number 1 versus number 2. But this is like a mountain Michigan hasn't climbed. This is going to be beating the best coach, not just in the history of college football, in my opinion, in the history of all team sports. The last year of a 4-team college football playoff, the last year of kind of a normal Big Ten 14 teams, maybe the last year for J.J. McCarthy, Jim Harbaugh. And everything changes after this football season. So big game. I'm excited for it. I'll be in the stadium coming up on Monday afternoon, Monday evening on the East Coast. How about this, though? MAC Player of the Year that's kind of dropped this afternoon as we were putting together this show. Penny Boone. Might have seen his highlights. He's out of the Detroit. Went to Maryland for 2 years, right? Was a top 400 recruit coming out in the 2020 class. Went to Maryland. Didn't do a ton. Had a few yards here, a few yards there for 2 seasons, but has played Toledo the last couple of years. Had a really nice year this year, 800-yard games, and he really wasn't even the main back for the first 2. Got in there with 150 yards or so the third game and just exploded from there. 194 carries on the year, 1,400 yards, averaging a whopping 7.2 yards per carry, 15 touchdowns, also has 15 catches, 219 yards, caught a touchdown as a receiver. Here's the quote he put out there, though. This is the really interesting part. This is why we're talking about it. I'm really open to any part of the country, but it would be nice if Michigan or Michigan State pops into the picture. So why would Michigan not pursue him? Why would they not? I mean, I can't see a single reason why. I don't think that any of the running backs that are freshmen next year or the redshirt freshmen, sophomores, Cole Cabana, Ben Hall, any of the true freshmen coming up are going to transfer if you get this guy. He's got 1 year of eligibility left, and he is starter material, best player in the MAC MVP. Now, his high school teammate, the Toledo quarterback, just committed to Baylor last week. So the best 2 players maybe in the MAC last year, same high school, Detroit Martin Luther King, and both are transferring out. So maybe he goes and plays with him at Baylor, but he specifically said, I'd love to hear from Michigan and Michigan State. Jim Harbaugh, Michigan's recruiting department, just give the kid a call. I mean, there's no need to wait. I don't think it would change anything with anyone transferring out. Donovan Edwards is not going to get mad if he wants to stay in again next year. You need a big-time running back if you are going to prevent a decent fall-off from this 3-year run, the likes we've never seen in the history of modern Michigan football. Keep it rolling here on the show. We have got a lot to talk about. We're calling it our Michigan football mega rumors. I haven't heard any intel on Boone yet, whether or not Michigan's going to be interested. But certainly, if they do, you'll find me on Twitter. You'll find us on Instagram, and might pop up and do a video if we get anything substantial over the next few days. Bryce Underwood, though, he is the story that I want to talk about. What will happen with his commitment, which is just a matter of days away. January 6th. It's not months away. That's 10 days away or so. So we'll talk about that here in a second. But I'll ask you guys this question. Who you got in the other game coming up, right? Once Michigan beats Alabama, they will play the winner of Texas and Washington. Now, I don't know who's going to win this game. I guess I lean Texas. They're favored. Maybe they got more talent. But certainly, remember, their coach flamed out at Washington, so maybe Washington's got the better coach. But I hope it's Washington because the national title game is in Houston, and that would be just a massively disadvantage for Michigan if they're playing Texas in Houston. So I'm going for Washington is my hope. Maybe my heart says Washington, my head says Texas. Let me know what you guys think. Give me a T or a W down in the comments. Let's talk some Bryce Underwood rumors. All right. The nation's number 1 recruit is set to commit next Saturday, right? January 6th. He's in his junior year of high school. Some people have started to be, down on him just a little bit, that he's not as good as people prior had said. He's not Trevor Lawrence or anything like that. I still am going to, number 1 quarterback in the country, rarely flames out. And so Michigan needs to go full strength at him. So we'll talk about Bryce Underwood. Commitment date 1 month from today. I don't know if that should be in there, Jack. I don't know how that got in there, but don't go to that one. So he's been doing a lot of things, right? LSU has been the rumored favorite or co-favorite with Michigan. But over the last 2 weeks or so, it seems like it's going a little bit towards a team that Michigan knows a little thing about, which is Alabama, right? He was at Alabama on December 16th, so 11, 12 days ago now. And he's not shied away from posting things on social media, right? So posted this photo 2 days before Christmas, right, on Saturday. Just out of nowhere, him in Alabama in the uniform with the chain Bama boys. Now, I was a smart ass, Jack. I jumped in the comments on this tweet. I said, man, Alabama, what kind of education is that? They spelled boys wrong. But nevertheless, Alabama making a late charge. And Jack and I were talking, hey, winner of this game, Michigan-Alabama, wins the Natty, also gets Bryce Underwood. I'll take it because maybe LSU, could they be blowing it with Bryce Underwood? I think it's something to consider based on everything that's happened with that program over the past week or so. But I'll tell you more about that story, LSU, Bryce Underwood, Michigan, Alabama, in a second. But first, potentially more important, is PrizePicks, the sponsor of the Michigan Football Report, the easiest and fastest way to play daily fantasy sports. All you do is pick more or less on player stats. You're not gambling against point spreads, over-unders, or against fantasy sports pros that make this their livelihood. It's super easy. It takes me less than 60 seconds to make my PrizePicks. And for this Rose Bowl game, I picked 5 players in one entry. If I get them all right, I get 10 times my money. I've got J.J. McCarthy getting more than 16.5 rushing yards. Jalen Milroe more than 32.5 rushing yards. My breakout player of this game is going to be Colson Loveland. So I'm going way more than 36.5 receiving yards. Less, right? It doesn't feel that great to say less when it's your team, but I think based on what I've seen with Alabama's defense, I'm going less than 71.5 for Blake Corum. I think Michigan's going to shut down the Alabama passing game, so I'm going less than 53.5 for their top receiver, Jermaine Burton. $10, $25 was what I put on it. I get 10 times my money if I get those bad boys back. And with the power play, I can get 4 correct, still get some money back. What, 2x my money is that what it says there, Jack? And if I get 3, so I just go 3 and 2, get 3 right, 2 wrong, I still get $10 back on my $25 that I risk. You can get up to a $100 deposit match at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use code CLNS. Let them know that the Michigan Football Report sent you. They want to keep doing business with us. We can keep the lights on. Maybe Jack next year will just have a corporate budget. We can get you going to Houston for the national title game next year. I know it's not there, but nevertheless, prizepicks.com/CLNS. Support the show and have some fun because it's been super fun playing for me this year. And with the Michigan game against Alabama, I am going to absolutely be all over my latest prize pick submission. prizepicks.com/CLNS down in the comments and the description and the live chat of the Michigan Football Report. Let's keep it rolling with Bryce Underwood. So is LSU blowing it? Now, I don't have any insight on this. And you guys know I don't really try and get all the scoop on recruiting and such. But the allure to LSU is really twofold, right? It is the fact that they've seemingly been aggressive with NIL and putting an NIL deal together for Underwood, and that their offense produced a Heisman Trophy winner who potentially has a similar skill set to what Underwood himself has. But not Mike Denbrock, who's been with Brian Kelly at multiple stops over like 20 years, decided to hightail it out of there. He's no longer at LSU. He just took the Notre Dame offensive coordinator job. So who's going to be his offensive coordinator with 10 days to go, whatever, 11 days to go to make the decision? That is a bad move by LSU to let that happen. But I'm sure Denbrock wanted to go back to South Bend. But how about this one? You guys might have saw the show yesterday or followed along over the weekend. Multiple reports out of LSU right there, like Rivals.com writer, their ESPN local radio guy said, hey, Brian Kelly wants the Michigan job. He's not fitting in here. Even though he beat Alabama last year in 2022, even though he produced a Heisman Trophy winner, even though he made it to the SEC title game in his first year, he's not fitting in. He doesn't love it. We don't necessarily love him. He would jump to go back to the state of Michigan or the Midwest if Jim Harbaugh runs to the NFL. I don't think Michigan's going to take him. I think Sharon Moore, it's his job to lose unless something crazy happens with like an NCAA sanction or something like that. So I just think it's kind of bad timing by LSU if they are going to lock up this potentially generational player in Bryce Underwood. A week from Saturday, we'll probably be in Houston, Jackson. We'll probably have to go live for that. We'll be in Houston 2 days before the national championship game. Bryce Underwood will be making his decision. I think it's down to these 3 teams: Michigan, LSU, Alabama. I'm still confident it's going to be Michigan, although I don't think there's anything he said publicly that's pushed to that. I still think there's going to come up with, it's kind of like a generational thing, right? You make your mark as a high school player, 4 years, 4-year starter, 3 straight championship games, 2 wins, state championship, lost this year, come back for senior year. And then, people like to support people from where they are from, right? You're from Texas, people want to show you love in Texas. If you're from Michigan, they want to show you love in Michigan. I think that NIL kind of sales pitch may be what pushes Michigan over the top. Is that, hey, once you're on campus, people want to show love to a kid from Michigan, from the greater Detroit area in Belleville, and that will be the ultimate allure, whether or not Jim Harbaugh is the head coach for his entire career or not. My take, though, is that I think if he doesn't come to Michigan, all right, I don't know why. My gut's saying that Michigan never gets these guys in a lot of ways, right? J.J. McCarthy maybe in the last one, but remember, he committed as a sophomore in high school, right? That was May 11th, 2019, as a sophomore. So my gut's saying, oh gosh, Michigan's not going to get him. They don't get any of these guys anymore with Jim Harbaugh. But I just think he will. I don't have anything to put it. It's just putting out the good vibes. I'm one of the great dot connectors of all time when it comes to these things. So hopefully I'm not that wrong. Hopefully, like Malachi said, Harbaugh's flirtation with the NFL doesn't change anything. But I just think he will end up at the Michigan football program. January 6th. Big J Sixter, just like you, Jack. Big day for you. Big day for Bryce Underwood coming up next Saturday. Michigan, though, is in Los Angeles for the Rose Bowl prep. Flew out in a really nice private jet, charter jet. You can go take a look at it. Just search like Michigan plane on Twitter or Google it. Really nice. Make sure the guys, they had layback seats to the side. Jack, it was pretty great. But I thought this was pretty interesting. 9 recruits from this 2024 class, 9 of the players that signed early, made the trip as well, which is a new rule. I think it's the 3rd year they've allowed it. It was actually a thing back in 2004, 2005. Kevin Grady was the only guy I ever heard Michigan doing it with, was able to practice for bowl prep, then going into the 2004 Rose Bowl. But now players can do it, right? If they're going to enroll on campus in January, they can move into the dorms, be part of the team. And why not? Why wouldn't they be able? What's a week of difference? And I think it gives Michigan a little insight into what they may have with some of these players. On offense, we've got Jadyn Davis. That's huge, right? Because Michigan's going to have to make a decision on the future of this quarterback position, whether it's J.J. McCarthy come back for a year, right? If he doesn't, then what happens to that quarterback position? I don't know if Jaden Denegal, I don't know if Alex Orji is the guy. If Jadyn Davis is able to get 10, 12 practices under his belt, go out to the Rose Bowl, practice another week for the national title game, that's huge because Michigan will know what they have in him before this transfer portal period ends and the college football playoff, the second semester comes about. That is on offense. So Jadyn Davis, Channing Goodwin, his high school teammates, 2 offensive linemen, Frazier and Guarnera, and then Brady Prieskorn, who, by the way, is being compared in a lot of ways to some of the best tight ends in college football right now. He almost slipped to Michigan State on signing day. I think it was kind of underreported by us, definitely. So that is what it is. So high school audition, Jadyn Davis, playoff run. He's going to be around greatness. He's going to be able to watch J.J. McCarthy, even if they're not teammates next year. He's going to watch J.J. McCarthy and see how he prepares for a game, see how he has command of the offense, see how he interacts with his coaches and his teammates preparing for the biggest game in the history of this program. So that's big for this team going forward. Let's take a look at the transfer portal quarterbacks before I show you who is out there on defense. There's still a few guys out there. Cam Ward, Washington State, lost 7 of his last 8 games, but's got some stats. Will Howard looks like he's considering the NFL still from Kansas State, but also USC and Ohio State. Speaking of USC, Malachi Nelson, 5-star quarterback from last year's class, right? This freshman year class. He is hitting the road. DJ Uiagalelei from formerly from Clemson, then Oregon State, is going to get 1 more year. And then KJ Jefferson from Arkansas kind of reminds me, honestly, of the quarterback Jalen Miller from Alabama in his style of play. Out of all those guys, I actually think Will Howard might fit best with Michigan. But those are the players potentially available if and when J.J. McCarthy decides to head to the NFL if it's after this season. How about defense? You've got some local guys, most notably Jacob Oden. He looks like he's already on campus out there. Been committed to Michigan forever. Dominic Nichols off the edge. Jeremiah Beasley, right? High school teammate of Bryce Underwood. He is out there as well. And then another linebacker, Cole Sullivan. So those are the 9 players. Most importantly, in my opinion, it is Jadyn Davis, part of Michigan's prep for Alabama on Monday. Let me know where you guys are watching this game from, though. Where are you watching this Rose Bowl? The couch, a friend's house, or with friends. The bar, going and whooping it up the day after New Year's. Maybe some people just won't even go to bed, Jack. They'll just pull an all-nighter, keep rolling until 5 o'clock Eastern. Or if you are going to the Rose Bowl, I've got couch from Phil, from Robert, from Corey, from Tim. And then Elric says, come on, Yoder, sell me the T-shirt. Which one? The one I'm wearing? I'm not really sure. I'll have to find it, put it in the live chat at some point later on in the show. So let me know where you guys are watching from. National title odds have kind of been fluctuating all over the place. Here are the most up-to-date national title odds. As I see a $5 super chat coming in, we'll get to you, Caden, in just a moment. Plus 180 for Michigan, plus 190 for Alabama. So, if you're not a mathematician, a math magician, this basically means that, the odds that the winner of the Michigan-Alabama game has basically got 2-1 odds over Texas, or obviously like much more of that, about 3.5 to 1 or so over Washington in this national title push. So the odds makers think that the winner of this game, which I don't think is a surprise to anybody, 1 versus 4, but that 4 being Alabama, will win the national title game. All right, we will have more content for you all week if you're watching this on demand. And if anything pops up, of course, I'm going to pull up my laptop, film something right from the hotel room. It's the Michigan Football Report. Go Blue.